turn to your neighbor on your right, and say, I'm powerful. No, don't say I'm powerful. Like, say it with conviction. I'm powerful. Alright, now turn to the neighbor on your left, and say, you are powerful. Yeah, okay, good. Alright. Why I made us do that, Why I said, let's turn to our neighbors and say, I am powerful, And turn to the neighbor on your other side and say, you are powerful, It's because sometimes life will throw us in situations where we don't feel powerful, There are going to be so many situations where you don't feel like you are powerful, But I wanted to encourage you today, and just saying it to each other, it's like it breaks off certain things, and it's a reminder that, yeah, I am powerful. Yeah, you are powerful. Yeah, we are powerful. Just because you don't feel powerful does not make you any less powerful. Just because your situations are just crappy, just because your situations suck, does not mean that you're not powerful. You are powerful no matter what situation, no matter what you're feeling, and no matter what circumstance you're going through, Just like on Friday, for those of you who were here on Friday, we had an amazing Friday service, amen? Amen? All of you guys were like, I love you, like hugging each other, like encouraging each other, But one thing that Matt shared on Friday was, just because you don't feel God during worship does not mean that the Word of God changes, In that same way, just because you don't feel powerful does not mean that your worth and your power changes either. And a powerful person is powerful because they choose to be powerful, even when they don't feel like it. And today we're going to talk about powerful choices, And before I get into, the main points, I just need 3 male volunteers. I'll explain why they're male, okay? Female, please don't raise your hand, okay? Like, why, 3 male volunteers, Okay. Alright.
Mission Cultures.
And John Mission.
Let's have Lucas up here. He's volunteering someone else,
Ryan Lim.
Mission Ryan.
Okay. Let's have Lucas. Okay, I'm just gonna pick people now.
Ryan Lim.
Lucas. Lucas, come up.
Mission Cultures.
Alright, let's have Mission.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll have Jacob.
Ryan Lim.
Lucas, Mission, and Jacob. Alright. Before I explain why they're up here, I'm just giving you a disclaimer. I'm illustrating something, But that doesn't mean that it's them, okay? So I'm just giving you an illustration because we're reading the passage and there's names like Rehoboam, Jeroboam, like all these weird names, And it's like really confusing to see like what is going on in this passage, So let's just say that you are Solomon, Let's just say that you are Jeroboam and you are Rehoboam. Alright. Sounds really confusing because their names are kind of similar, So, how many of you, okay, so we've talked about King Solomon for the last couple of weeks, Mission Facebook, okay. We've talked about King Solomon for the last couple of weeks, And he's known to be a great king because, when God asked him, like, what do you want, He didn't say, like, I want gold, But he said, I want wisdom, And that's like what he's known for, But also, sadly, what he's also known for is towards the end of his reign as king, he struggled a lot with personal issues, meaning he set up idol cults, And he had 1,000 wives and concubines, So to put it into perspective for you, just look around really quickly, In this room, there are approximately 150 to 200 people, So that to me, to have 1,000 wives, that means this our room times 5. Okay, that's how many wives he had, So obviously his personal life was not doing that well, right? Okay. What did I say you were? Jeroboam? Okay. This is Jeroboam. Come to the middle, okay? Jeroboam, right? There was this prophecy that Jeroboam would be king, right? So what happens is Solomon, he hears that and he gets upset. So he tries to kill Jeroboam, right? So Jeroboam, he runs away to Egypt. Just go over there, okay? So he runs away to Egypt, right? Now, Rehoboam, okay. Rehoboam is actually Solomon's son, right? And in this passage, what's happening is they're trying to make Rehoboam king, right? But they're asking him, like, can you lighten the load of labor? Because what was happening was King Solomon, in order to like finance his like very luxurious lifestyle, he was taxing people a lot. And he was basically making people slaves. He was making them like work to death, right? So basically, there's like two types of advice being offered, right? There's one side that's saying the older people, the elders, right? They're saying, listen to the people, serve your people, right? Like, take care of your people, right? But then there's another group, the younger people that Rehoboam actually grew up with and is familiar with, right? And they're saying, no, don't listen to them. Like, assert your authority. Use like your power, like make it worse, right? So, volunteers, thank you. You see, there are a couple of things we can learn from even just that happening, right? You see, King Solomon, he didn't have his personal life in check. And you see, when you have personal issues in your heart that are not dealt with, they will always manifest in a certain way. A lot of the times, we try to run away from our personal issues, saying like, I'll just deal with it later, or like, it doesn't really matter that much, right? We try to like bury it under the carpet. But no, when you have issues in your heart, personal issues, they always manifest in a certain way, right? And another thing is that we can learn is the enemy, he loves division. God, he loves unity, but the enemy, he loves division. You know why? Because when you are divided with another person, when people are divided, you forget who the real enemy actually is. Right? Like, when you're fighting with your friend, you're not going to be like, let's say like I'm fighting with, I don't know, Matt, right? I'm fighting with Matt, right? If I'm like genuinely upset at him, I'm not going to be like, you know, Matt, the enemy is our enemy. You know, like, it's not like that's like the logical choice, right? And when you're arguing with your mom or your dad or your siblings, right? It's really hard for us to step back and be like, wait, who is the real enemy here? Right? So the enemy, he loves division. And if you look at this passage, it's already starting so divided. One person, he's running away because he's getting killed for trying to be king, right? Another person, he has to deal with two groups of people who are telling him different things, right? There is just so much division already happening. Right? But if you look at the situation, right? King Rehoboam, he had the opportunity to make a powerful choice. He really did. But instead of making that powerful choice, what he chose to do was, can we have the next slide and the next slide? I skipped 2 slides, right? What he chose to do instead was, he chose to be powerless. And you know, when we feel powerless, there are certain things that happen, right? But when we feel powerless, you can become either controlling, you can operate out of fear, or you can become very self-serving. You know, there are lots of situations where we feel powerless, meaning we feel like we have no power over it, right? Just like, even like simple ones, like, I remember when I was younger, my summer schedule would already be set, right? Because my mom would sign me up for hot ones that I had no idea that I was going to, right? And I was like, but I had all these plans, right? And she was like, no, you're gonna go to hot one from like Monday through Saturday, right? I'm like, wait, what? Right? And you know, I always talk to the seniors. I'm like, it's so crazy how like you guys can go out now and get Starbucks by yourself. Like, Because like a couple years ago when I first met them, like they were like, can we get a ride? Like, we're just trying to get to church, right? And like they would just like have to wait until their parents would like finish their activities at church, right? And there are certain situations where you're gonna feel like, I have literally no control or power over this situation, right? But on a realer note, there are gonna be situations like in your personal life, like my parents are fighting. My parents are getting divorced. Someone in my life is sick. And you're gonna feel like you have no power over that situation. But even in situations where you may not be able to dictate the outcome, you still have the ability to be a powerful person and the ability to make a powerful choice. You know, King Rehoboam, how he exerted control in this situation is he did this thing what we call advice shopping. Basically, he goes around asking people for advice, but in reality, he already had made up his mind. He goes to the elders and he asks them, what should I do? And they tell him, serve your people. But it says in verse 8, what does it say in verse 8? It says, but Rehoboam rejected the advice the elders gave him and consulted the young men. So even before he went to the young men, Rehoboam already rejected that advice the elders gave him. That means that he already made up his mind even before he went to the young men. And when the young men said, use your authority, use that fear, use your power, he's like, yeah, I'll do that. You know, a lot of the times, I phrase it like this, we only like to hear what we want to hear from who we want to hear it from. Right? Like, it's so common tendency, right? Like, even for me personally, I remember when I was younger, and even still now, like, whenever I get into a fight with someone, especially like my husband, Brian, right? It's so easy for me to just go to people who I want to talk to, who I know will give me the answers that I like, right? Like, you know, like I go to like my girls, right? And he goes to like his boys, right? And I don't know what they say to him. I don't want to know, right? But, you know, on my end, they're like, yeah, like, you're right, like, he's wrong, you know? And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm justified, you know? I'm like, I like hearing what I want to hear. You know, but a lot of the times I realize that doesn't actually help you grow. You know what helps you grow? People in your life who will point out your blind spots. People in your life who will say, hey, you know, I support you and I love you, but can you look at it from this different perspective? Can you look at it from this other person's view? You need people in your life, both of the same age and older, who will advise you in that manner. You know, a lot of the times we think we're right and our parents are completely wrong, right? Right? I remember when I was younger too, I would always get into these fights, especially with my mom, right? Because my dad was always working, right? And my mom, like, we would argue and there would just be language barriers and all this stuff, right? And she'd be like, no, you have to do it this way. And I'm like, Mom, you are from Korea, you know? Like, we are living in America. Like, you don't understand American culture, right? And she's like, but I live longer than you and I have more experience than you. I'm just like, well, whatever, like, we live in a different time now, you know what I mean? But you know, a lot of the times I realized my mom was pretty right. But for me, in my stubbornness, I just didn't want to listen to her. And you know, even in this passage, Rehoboam, he had the opportunity to change the kingdom. Like, change the kingdom. Because there was already division present, right? But after this decision, after Rehoboam said, all right, I'm just going to make your load worse. I'm just going to tax you guys heavier. I'm just going to make you guys work harder. After this decision, the people were like, whoa, he's really not for us, right? And then they all like split. And what ended up happening, if you look at the rest of the book, is the nation split into the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. And it's just like battle, 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 war, war, war between these two kingdoms. But it used to be one nation. But you see, Rehoboam, he had this opportunity, this great opportunity to make a powerful choice and change the course of history. do you know that everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you make a decision about, it's powerful. And it has consequences, whether it's bad or good. But you have to understand that when you make a decision, it's not just merely, oh yeah, I'll just make a decision for myself and it's just me, myself, and I. No, because even if you look at this passage, his decision affected everyone in the nation for generations to come. Do you know that when you make a decision, it's powerful because it doesn't just affect you. It affects everyone around you. It affects everyone in your future too. But a lot of the times, we don't walk around in that power because we don't feel like our decisions matter that much. And you know, like, Rehoboam, like, he was just, like I said, he already made up his mind. I don't even know why he went to the elders, right? When he already, like, made up his mind to begin with. And isn't it, like, the worst when someone asks you for advice, but they don't listen to you anyways? Right? I would get so frustrated, right? Especially, like, even little things, like, people would come to me and be like, Pastor Lisa, like, what should I do about the situation, blah, 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 and, like, we pray about it, we fast, and we, like, think about it, and then I'm like, you know, blah, 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 and then they just, like, do the complete opposite, right? And you're just like, what the heck? Right? Or when your friend is like, hey, like, what should I do about the situation, right? And they, like, confide in you and tell you your life story, but then when the moment you give them advice, they just do the complete opposite, and you're like, well, thanks, right? But you see, Rehoboam, he was controlling because he was controlling what advice was even being given to him. He was controlling and filtering what he wanted to hear from who he wanted to hear it from. And another way that Rehoboam manifested that a powerless decision is out of fear. You know, when you operate in fear, you become the worst version of yourself. When you're in the presence of God, that's why, when you're in the presence of God, you're so free. You're so loving. You're so kind, right? But when you operate in fear, that's when, like, all your insecurities come out. That's when, like, you just don't love people the same, right? That's when the worst version of you comes out, right? And you see in this passage, Rehoboam, he was operating out of fear. And you know what he was doing? He not only was he operating out of fear, he was using fear to establish his authority. You know that phrase, like, would you rather be feared or loved? Right? Have you guys ever heard of that, right? I remember I learned it in, like, history class, and I remember when I was younger, when people would ask me that, they were like, Lisa, would you rather be feared or loved, right? As, like, evil and twisted as it sounds, like, when I was younger, I was like, feared, right? I'm like, feared. And they're like, why? I'm like, because if you can scare someone, they'll just do everything, right? I'm like, but now that I look back at it, that's a really messed up answer, right? Because it's so much better to be loved than to be feared. And you can't establish your authority by using fear. If you look at God and how Jesus operated in the gospel, Jesus never used fear. When he approached people, he used love, and that's how he established his authority. But you see, Rehoboam in this passage, he's operating out of fear, and he's using fear tactics. Make it worse. Make their load heavier. Make their lives more miserable. He's trying to use fear to instill his authority. And another way that Rehoboam, he makes a powerless decision is he becomes very self-centered. You see, when you feel powerless, it's really hard to think about other people because you're always focused on yourself. In that same way, in this passage, Rehoboam, he didn't want to serve other people. He wasn't thinking about other people. He was just thinking, how can I establish myself? How can I make myself king? How can I show these people what I am made of? Do you know what I'm saying? But, you know, when you are operating out of powerlessness and fear and control, you actually become very selfish and very self-centered. So it's very hard to think about God and the love of God and God's people. You know, and it becomes suddenly like a me against you mentality. And it becomes like a, all right, I'm going to defend for myself. And all of a sudden, like I said before, the enemy, he loves division, right? And all of a sudden, there's this division because you are just concerned about yourself and there's no concern for others in this picture. You know, next slide. Praise him, I'm going to close soon, so please come up. In situations where you feel powerless, or when you feel powerless, there are actually opportunities for reconciliation and power. Now let me explain. In situations when you feel powerless, there are opportunities for reconciliation and power. There are opportunities for reconciliation because if you look at the situation, right, his decision, it changed the course of history for a nation, right? He had the opportunity to reconcile differences between people. He had the opportunity to reconcile differences in opinions. You know, when you are fighting with your parents, or your siblings, or your friends, or you have disagreements even in church, do you look at it as like, oh, so annoying? Or do you see it as an opportunity for reconciliation? You know, just to share a personal story, I remember, like, some of you know this because I've shared my testimony, and some of you know my sister who's in this youth group, right? But I remember when I was younger and growing up, I didn't really have, like, I had a good family, but my family was very broken, right? And my family is still very broken, right? I would grow up seeing my parents fight, like, all the time, right? Like, and, like, the word divorce is, like, thrown around, like, every month, right? And I remember, like, there was just so much hopelessness in my heart when I looked at the situation. And I prayed for so long, right? Like, I've been praying for my dad. I'm still praying for my mom, you know, and I pray for my sister too. But, you know, it's not like everything is perfect. Like, my dad, he's been struggling with certain addictions and unhealthy habits, and he still does. I wish I could tell you, like, I prayed one day and I got slain and, like, the Holy Spirit came upon me and my whole life was changed. You know, but it's a process, right? And my dad, I'm still praying for him. And I remember, like, my parents weren't coming to church, and I was, like, the only one coming to church at one point, and I was like, God, like, I feel so powerless, right? Like, I feel like I can't make any difference. Like, I feel like I can't change the situation that I'm in. Like, I have no control over the situation. Because if I could control it, yeah, I would just bring my parents to church, they would just love each other, and, like, we would just be one happy family, one Asian happy family, right? But I realized, like, I had no control over the situation. And because I had no control over the situation and the outcome, I felt so powerless. And when I felt powerless, I felt hopeless. And like the things I shared about, like how Rehoboam was controlling and fearful and, like, self-serving, that was what I started operating in too. I became very controlling, like, oh, my parents are like this, so I'm going to be controlling of my future, right? I'm going to go to this college, I'm going to study this degree, I'm going to earn this much money. Guess what? None of that happened, right? I operated out of fear, right? I was like, oh God, like, are you going to abandon me? Like, all these insecurities came out, right? And, like, I became very self-serving. Like, I was, like, so depressed. And, like, when you're depressed, you just look at yourself. You just look at what's wrong with my life, like, what's wrong with the world, what's not happening for me, right? And I just kept looking at myself. And I remember I was just losing hope, and there was one point I even stopped praying for everything, right? But I realized as time went by, it's not like I had, like, a moment where I was like, yes, you know, this is it, right? It took me some time to realize this, that don't let the powerless situation speak into your life, but you speak life into that powerless situation. I'll say it one more time, this is so good, right? Don't let that powerless situation speak into your life, but you speak life into that powerless situation. There are some of you in this room that are going through a lot. I know. Because some of you guys have shared it, and some of you guys haven't shared it. There are some of you where you're battling like depression. There are some of you where you're battling family situations. There are some of you where you're battling school. There are some of you who are battling addictions. There are some of you who are battling anxiety and panic attacks, right? There's so much that can make us feel powerless in our life, right? But I'm here to encourage you today, and God is here to remind you, don't let that powerless situation speak into your life, but you flip it, you speak life into that powerless situation.